And we are live. Oh my goodness. Welcome to Thursday to Thrive. This is a talk where we're going to talk about how to properly recruit and retain and reward your top talent. If you are an entrepreneur or you are a business owner and you have employees and you're looking for strategies on how you can recruit, reward, and retain your top talent, this show is for you. So I want to introduce my incredible team here. And you can see Miss Christina is ready to play us some amazing chords on the piano. And Zachary, you may not know this, he's also an amazing break dancer as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let Miss Christina go ahead and take it away. It's all yours, Miss Christina.
Good evening, everybody. What a subject, recruit and retain top talent. So in my line of business, I speak with a lot of business owners and companies actually that are at the stage of thriving, I call it. So they're going from initial startup stage to scaling stage. So these are usually business that perhaps for the first couple of years they operated having employees that are part time or employees that actually were interns. And all of a sudden, thanks to the dedication of these employees, their business boomed, and now they find themselves having to go the next step up. So oftentimes, unfortunately, the solution seems okay. Let's create a flexible work environment, a workforce that works part time. But what happens sometimes is that they don't realize that this does not create an holistic and a wholesome work environment. Because startups are great, at the initial stage. Usually, it's a lot of young people. But reality is that as time goes on and as the business grow, also the people that were the pillars have responsibilities. And so, one of the things that really creates the type of environment is really showing as a company that you do care for your employees, that you do care for their well-being, and you offer a whole package that includes health benefits.
Yeah, that is a great point. I love what you said about creating that environment. The environment with employers and well-meaning employers, right? They're well-meaning. They probably do other things to care for their employees because they just don't feel like they have the financial resources to provide benefits. But when you have employees who really do have those benefits, I think that it really increases the culture, the feeling of how they feel about their work. And you know what? I read a statistic recently that it said it was like 67% of employees would leave their employer for somebody else if they could get a job with benefits. Oof. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's huge. And what does that mean to you as an employer, especially if you're just getting started? If you're somebody that's just getting started and you're looking to expand, and now you're depending on this employee to be there, this valued employee, and now you have to replace them. It's not just a matter of replacing a body for a body. It's a matter of replacing that knowledge, the training that it took, the time it took to train that person for really to be able to be that specialist in your staff, right? To bring that value, your customer service, just your etiquette, your culture of your business. And now you have to go back and kind of retool someone else. That takes away time. It takes away just a lot of your energy. So that's a great point, Christina. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, exactly. To your point, I meet a lot of business owners that they're at the moment where the momentum created all the wealth, and the momentum was created by the enthusiasm that these employees that first joined the workforce had. So that was the initial team. The initial team is going to be the team that is going to be able to train the enthusiasm, train on the mission, train on the why, and train on the history of how this employee was created from this company was created from nothing, from humble beginnings. So now when things are going, they're looking up, right? It's not time, to tighten the purse. It's really actually time to invest
Yeah.
in those resources that made you to begin with.
Wow. That was so good.
Yeah.
That was so good. Yeah, absolutely. Now is the time to invest. We have to invest in our business. That's just the bottom line. Whatever your business is, if you are a cake maker, you're a contractor, you're a health and a health provider, we have to invest in our business. And the number one thing we have to invest in is our staff and our people, because they're our face of our business. And I was reading something. They were talking about, if your employee feels a little bit slighted, and now they go and they're the face of your business and they're the receptionist that's greeting that first point of contact. No matter how great everything else is in the background that you do, if that first point of contact doesn't really feel valued, they don't really feel taken care of, are they really going to represent you in the way that you should be represented? So that was really huge. Thank you so much, Christina. We appreciate you. And she's got a super early morning, so she's going to drop off here in a minute. But I'm so glad that you made the time to come on here and share that golden nugget with us. We do appreciate our golden nuggets around here. And yes, this is a real gold nugget. You know why? My grandson, when he was 5 years old, 4 and 5 years old, gave these to me. So I know for sure they're real gold.
Yes, and your employees are definitely the face of your brand. First, you are your brand, and then it's your employees that are the face of your brand.
So
You have
true.
to keep them right.
That's great. I love it.
But thank you.
A round of applause for Miss Christina. I say catch-up claps for her, right? My boys did scouts and they talked about all these corny catch-up claps and all this other stuff. So now, without further ado, I love to pass it over to our next incredible speaker. And he wears many hats, and he is actually an agent here with my team. He's also right now going through medical school, if you can believe it. And by the way, he is a break dancer. You have to look him up on Instagram. I love bragging about this because this guy is so talented. So, Mr. Zachary, take it away. The mic is yours.
Yes. What's happening, y'all? My name is Zach Simon. I'm a doctoral student in clinical psychology. And yeah, you heard that right. I'm a B-boy. I breakdance and have been breakdancing for a little over 10 years now, and produce content both on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Instagram is where you can find a lot of my dance videos, but on LinkedIn I have been incorporating mental health, breakdancing, and my focus, which is working with Black men in therapy. So I really enjoy the work that I do. And, I'm reminded of how I started, how I began this passion of fusing breakdancing, mental health, and, the mental health of Black men. I started working in a nonprofit organization, a behavioral health center. And this was my very first job in the field of mental health. And, while I was on that job, I realized how important it was to recruit and maintain top talent. During that time, it became hard for me and many of my coworkers to be able to do the important work we do without getting healthcare, without getting the health coverage that we needed. And so I started to realize this pattern of me going to several different nonprofit organizations and private organizations in the field of mental health, and them just not having the health care that I needed to do the work that I do. And I remember in my first job, I was working with very intense clients, very intense situations, and needed the health coverage that I need to be able to do the work that I had to do. So I'm very passionate in the field of mental health and the healthcare industry, and so desire to see an improvement in how healthcare professionals go about this work. And, it's really improved how I go about providing services for just Black men.
Yeah, that's so critical. And, when you told me that story initially, Zachary, I really was blown away because here you are really putting your heart and soul into helping, somebody deal with their mental health and supporting them, but to know that your physical harm could be in jeopardy, and knowing that not only could it be in jeopardy, but you didn't have adequate access to proper health care.
Yeah.
And you shared a story with me about, just how that felt. So I think it's really, go ahead.
Yeah, I would love to expand on that. That very first job I was talking about, we worked day in and day out with clients who had severe mental health challenges. This was the first job where I worked over 8 hours. This was the first job where, if that's even possible, this is the first job where I worked 16-hour shifts with clients who had severe mental health challenges. And so many of the shifts that I had, we would be in, intensive care with my clients. Many of these folks were 5150 folks, dealing with high aggression throughout each of the shifts that I had. And so sometimes I would have shifts where I would feel like I just got beat up. I would feel like I went through hours of, being hurt and scratched and bitten by many clients and not having the healthcare coverage provided by my employer to be able to get through the day. And I've seen my team day in and day out working 8-hour shifts, 16-hour shifts, being hurt, bit, scratched, and not getting the coverage that they need to do the effective work that they are required to do. And so after that first job, I started to notice this pattern of many healthcare professionals working so hard and so diligently to provide adequate services to clients, but on the back end, not getting the healthcare coverage that they need to do the work that they have to do. So I'm very passionate in, an environment and in a culture that values healthcare coverage.
Now, you've been in this industry a little while now. So let me ask you, on a whole, what would you say is the percentage of mental health practitioners and professionals who do not have employee group benefits provided for them? What do you think is that percentage?
That's a really good question. And I think it depends on whether it's private or nonprofit.
Okay.
I know when I first started, it was many nonprofit organizations that were skimping out on healthcare coverage for their employees. And so many employees would work at these behavioral health clinics, not having adequate healthcare coverage, but yet working with many clients who have severe mental health concerns.
Wow.
And so if I were to give a percentage on many nonprofit organizations in California, I would say it's pretty high. Off the top of my head, I want to say, maybe above 50% of nonprofit organizations in California do not have adequate healthcare coverage for employees to be able to cover the challenges of working with clients who have severe mental health concerns. These coverages that they do provide are not adequate to be able to cover the bites, the scratches, the harm that comes day to day in a shift working at a behavioral health clinic.
Wow, that's so deep. I want to highlight Miss Sarah Ganella is joining us from Boyd Bass Podcast. If you haven't seen her podcast show, you got to check it out. She's got a lot of fun things, and she's just a beautiful, beautiful heart. And she said she'd love to know your LinkedIn, Zach. So if you can put it in the chat there,
Yeah.
And she said that she was looking for his breakdancing. You know what? He does post it more on Instagram. So you got to check him out on Instagram. He will post his Instagram handle. You got to check it out, Sarah. I'm telling you, this will blow your mind to see. Not that it's so unusual or unbelievable that he could dance. It's not that. But the way that he puts everything together is very much another level of talent, I got to tell you. So you will love it. I promise you, you'll love it. It'll be worth the search. So put that in the chat there, Zach. That would be incredible.
Yes.
So what are we talking about here? We're talking about zero net cost benefits that employers, small business owners, entrepreneurs, and even large corporations can provide benefits, medical benefits at zero net cost to the employer and free to their valued employees. That's so good. I'm going to say it again. You could provide medical benefits at zero net cost to the employer and free to your valued employees. And what does that mean? And I think Sarah's still looking for you on Instagram too. She can't find you there either. We want to make sure Sarah's going to find you on there.
By the way, for LinkedIn, it's just my first name and last name, Zachary, Zachary, Simon, my last name.
And then what are you on Insta?
On Instagram, it's Daniels, DANIELZ .Zach, ZACK.
Yeah, let us know if you find it, Sarah, because like I said, it'll blow your mind. So that's what we're talking about. And many employers, well-meaning employers, believe that they cannot afford group benefits because, just so you know, for them to provide benefits like that, medical benefits, they're required to subsidize 50% of the premiums for the employee. What that means is the employer must pay for 50% of the cost of that coverage. And for many employers, that is just not financially possible because the average premium on a group plan is somewhere between $400 to maybe $600 per person. So think about that. That means that employer might have to come out with $300 a month per employee to provide benefits. And so if they're not able to do that, and it's not that they don't want to a lot of times, it's just that they don't know any other way. They look at their books and the bottom line, the I's and the T's don't cross and dot. This program is an incredible program. It is an economic relief program, like many other economic relief programs that we've heard of. We've heard of things like, phones that are subsidized. We've heard of rental programs that have subsidized benefits so that people can receive free or low-cost housing, free or low-cost cell phones. Well, this is an economic relief program that works very, very similar, that allows these employers to provide these medical benefits. And what kind of benefits are we talking about? We're talking about very rich corporate style benefits. They can pick and choose from a very rich platform on what benefits they would like to provide. Miss Sarah, did you find Mr. Simon? I'm not sure if she might still be spooling around for you. So providing these benefits, they can pick and choose their benefits, and now they look like a superhero. Okay, they absolutely look like a superhero. So now their employee can get that healthcare coverage that they want. Maybe it's major medical, maybe it is supplemental things like life insurance, like dental vision, even things like critical care, accident plans, and a host of other benefits that they can provide from, they can pick from and customize their solution, and all at zero net cost to the employer. I mean, that is so good. I take that all day long and twice on Sunday. Who would not want to provide that for their employees? Go ahead, Zach.
I got to add something. When I was talking about skimping out on healthcare coverage, I saw that firsthand. When an employer skimps out on healthcare coverage, we see it as the employee. We see them, really reduce the level of care that they have for the employee. We see that in how much resources they provide for employees to get through each day. And I remember in my first job, my job had to skimp out on many things just to afford running the business. And so I love this idea of a zero cost benefit because it allows employers just like the one I was working for, to not have to skimp out on caring for their employees.
Yeah, and I think that it's something I really do believe it's not that something it's intended to be malice, right? They're not trying to not provide benefits. It's just financially, the work that they're doing is costly to provide the clinicians, to provide the facilities, and everything else that they're working hard to provide for the community. Benefits just doesn't seem to be something that is feasible for them. So knowing that not only the healthcare industry, but any industry could provide these benefits at zero net cost is incredible. And how does this work? And Sarah found you on Instagram, but she can't find you on LinkedIn, she said, that is kind of weird, Sarah. You know what I find with LinkedIn, if you are not connected at all, then it will not allow me to find people. So that may be the issue. That may be it. Let's see.
Let me join the chat and I'll just type
She
it
loves the idea too for those that just cannot financially provide it. Yeah, that's right. And so what does this do? This does a lot of things. It helps these employers to actually recruit higher talent, because most employees these days are looking for those corporate style benefits. And it also helps them to retain that top talent. If you're a young business getting started and you have to constantly be retooling new employees, that is costing lots of money to retool, a lot of time, a lot of your energy, and you're really not getting any time to really get some good traction, right? Where you can really get your business to thrive to the next level. And also to reward them. You know, I also saw another study that said, I think it was like 30% of employees would leave an employer for another employer that had benefits. They would rather have benefits than have a raise. Think about that. They would forego a raise if they knew they could have rich benefits that actually worked and were able for them to get the access to the medical care that they want and need. You found him? Okay, great. She had to scroll down. All right, great, Sarah. Glad that you did. Now tell me, you got to tell me, Miss Sarah, how cool is Mr. Zachary? You got to tell out here, because I brag on him all the time. I just think he's so talented, and he's such an incredible person. I'm so honored to know him for sure. So what are the requirements here? Really, there's a few. Okay, you have to be a legitimate business. So this is not an under the table business, right? You have to be a legitimate business. You have to have at least 2 full-time employees that are on payroll, being paid weekly, biweekly, monthly, none of that matters. And how much they're being paid doesn't matter either. And from there, we can put you through our system, through our tool, and it will see what you folks qualify for, because it really depends on a lot of things. Every single company is different. Every individual employee will qualify for their own bucket of dollars. And from there, if the employer decides to go forward, if he elects to or she elects to go forward with it, then each employee can pick and choose their own benefits, which is pretty cool. I really do love that. So if you have somebody, or you know somebody, if you know an employee who is going without benefits, maybe talk to them, share this with them. They could approach their employer and ask them if they could look into this program. Again, it's an economic relief program. It's been around since it was part of the Obamacare legislation, believe it or not. It's not brand new. It has just not really been marketed. There has not really been an insurance agency who's been able to really put the platform together. There's a lot of compliance that goes into this to be able to really market it and package it the way that we have been able to do here. So for me, probably my number one clients that I work with the most often are contractors. You know, somebody that's in that type of industry, general contractors, plumbers, electricians, roofers, you know, anything that's kind of a labor type of industry. I have a lot of clients in that field. And what I see is that a lot of them put a lot of time and energy into training their people, right? It takes a lot to learn how to properly do the finish on that tile or on that cement, how to properly spread the plaster. Like, there's a lot of skill that goes into that. And so they invest a lot of time and energy. And a lot of them will forego benefits by hiring 1099 subcontractors. Now, there's a lot of squirreliness with that. You got to be really, really careful. There's a lot of compliance about doing that, number one. And number two, you're not really solidifying that person to really be a real asset for your business. They're there kind of crossing the T's and, they're just punching the clock. There really isn't that loyalty. There isn't really that opportunity to develop that camaraderie. And by the way, this is also something that you may be able to recruit someone into your business who would like to one day take over your business. Maybe they would like to learn what you know and be able to buy your business from you. So some really great things to think about. And we have somebody else. Oh my goodness, I apologize. I cannot pronounce your name. Alsula. I apologize. But thank you.
I love that name.
Is that her name? Alsula. I know, it's a beautiful name.
Very beautiful.
I'm probably not giving it justice. Okay. So that's what I've seen, is that in that industry, it is very, very needed. And, contractors, a lot of times, they're just putting so much, like they have to leave on a dime. I will be in the middle of an appointment with them, and suddenly the plumbing guy has to go because there's some kind of a leak there, because they don't have anybody that they've trained in order to be able to fill in the gaps, right? I mean, something happens, that something goes wrong. They have to be the one and only. Well, if you have these employee benefits, and now you can really recruit and retain that top talent, you could really be training your replacement, or at least somebody who can kind of take the edge off, so that if you're with your family, you could be with your family. I mean, a lot of contractors will even forego family vacations because they don't want to be too far out of the area away from their business and their baby. And Stephen, hi, Stephen Jason, thank you for joining us. So that's what we wanted to talk about. That's what we wanted to share today. And we will be doing this every Thursday. And we're also looking for people to join our team. Listen, if you are looking for a side hustle, you're looking for some extra income, this is an incredible way to add to your book of business. If you already have a network, this is an incredible way for you to have the opportunity to monetize your network. Monetize the work that you're already doing. If you talk to business owners, if you work with business owners, if you know business owners, or you know employees that don't have benefits and they would love to have benefits, we would love to talk to you. Or even if you would just like to have a coffee chat, listen, we're always open to that. I love having those coffee chats. I was just sharing with Zachary, my goal last year was to have 10 no-pitch coffee chats a week. And I did it almost every week last year on LinkedIn. I met a lot of incredible people, and some of them wanted to move forward with things, and others of them we just had an incredible conversation. Listen, I think it's better for us to know each other and know who we are behind the bubble. Really see who that person is. What are their mannerisms? You kind of look in their eyes and really see who they are. And you never know who they can connect you to. You never know how down the line you could benefit each other. Maybe you collaborate, maybe who knows what you do, but at least we're taking the time to be more personable and really know who we are. Anything else you'd like to add, Zachary?
I'm still reflecting on, the importance of recruiting and maintaining top tier talent.
Yeah.
I got to go back to that first job again. I mean, a lot of people left my job, within the same month, because we weren't getting the benefits that we desired. And so this was our first job for many of us in the field of mental health. And it became apparent for many of us to find a better job.
You can let your puppy up if your puppy's there with you.
Yeah, my dog.
There you go. Now think about that. What did that do to the morale? And what would that do to the morale of a new person coming on board, and they're excited to start this career, and they start talking to the other employees and they say, well, how long are you here? Well, I just started. How long are you here? Well, I just started. How long are you here? You know what? I just started and I'm leaving. Right? Like, what does that do to the morale of your staff, of your company, of the face of your
Yeah, I agree. It hurts your morale.
Yeah. And I would love it, Sarah, if you could put in the chat your podcast. I love your podcast. And if anybody else has anything they'd like to share, I want you to work with each other, give yourself a shout out where you're from, what your business is, what kind of industry you're in, and maybe even who you're looking for. Maybe you're looking to network with somebody else. You know, I've had a lot of people make connections in the chat, and I think it's really does a service to be able for us to be able to network and get to know one another for sure. Well, I think that's pretty much what we're going to do here. Is there anyone that has any questions before we power down here for the evening? Any questions? Let's see. Now, remember on this benefit that it does also reward the employer. They will get some tax benefits, let's say, and it will also help them to reduce their workers' comp because it reduces their payroll. And that's why contractors love this. I got to tell you, because workers' comp for contractors, anybody who's in that labor industry, are very, very high. And they're always looking for ways to save money. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, yes, please check out Sarah's podcast. Her show is one of the first ones that I saw here on LinkedIn. I said, wow, this lady is pretty incredible. She does like a roundtable type of thing sometimes and always has incredible guest speakers. So definitely check her out. So I think that's going to do it for us. And unless anybody has any questions, I don't see anything here in the chat. Well, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you so much. Boy, I've been talking all day. I feel like I've been talking since the whole year. It is the second. Yeah, I think this is my third live video that I've done so far this year. And you're going to be doing one tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awesome. That's 7 a.m. my time. I actually have an appointment tomorrow at 7 a.m. But I love to catch it on the replay also. Always be on Team Replay. That also helps out. If you know someone who does a podcast and you can't be there live, show up and watch their replay. That really helps our algorithm. That's one thing that we can all do, even if you only watch a few minutes, right? Supporting each other, lifting each other up. And Osula says she's a public speaker and etiquette coach. Wow. That is incredible. I help people use their voice for impact, visibility, and income. Oh my goodness. I love that. I absolutely love that. Because my word for 2024 was impact. My word for 2025 is thrive. I want to help you thrive in 2025. And I believe that if we all have employee benefits, listen, we can all thrive in 2025 and make this the best year of our lives. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining us. And we're ta-ta for now.